to the Matson Shooting Academy podcast. If you're a clay target shooter, then we have what you're looking for. Speaking with some of the best in the industry about the game you're passionate about. Subscribe to the Clay Lab on YouTube and follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or your favorite podcast platform. The Matson Shooting Academy podcast is brought to you by Castellani USA, Greenwood Custom Stocks, and Ranger Eyewear. Here's your host, Cody Matson of Matson Shooting Academy.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. I have a great guest on this evening for the Matson Shooting Academy podcast. I have the chief shooting instructor for Orvis Sandanona, Paula Moore, on the show. So Paula, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Cody. It's great to be here.
Well, I'm excited that our schedules aligned and we were able to do this. I know you're an extremely busy coach as well. You are a NSCA level 3 instructor as well.
We were almost in the same class.
It was close. Yeah, so funny little story. All's well that ends well, I guess. But yes, I met you at Old Hudson Plantation for the NSCA Level 3, and I made it about 3/4 of the day through the first day, and then got news my house got hit by a tornado. So yeah, one of those things. But all is well. So
thank goodness.
Yeah, absolutely. But you went through the class and graduated and got your certificate. What was that like for you? Tell me a little bit about that process.
That's a pretty long 4 days, as you know by now. We started with 7 students and 5 of us graduated, but it was pretty rigorous. There's a lot to it, a lot more than I think all of us thought there was going to be. I think by getting halfway through, we were all convinced we were going to fail. And I'm very grateful to have made it through that. But I made some wonderful friends there. You can call it forged by fire.
There you go.
But
yeah, absolutely. No, through that class, and you're right. I mean, it is a very rigorous class, and I think it needs to be to uphold the prestigiousness of the level 3 certification. And so, kind of walk me through your journey. You've obtained the certificate, but how did you enter this sport? How did you start coaching and log all those hours?
I actually didn't enter the shooting world, period, until I was in my late 20s, and I went with my husband to see this sporting clays, and I am by no means a good spectator. If I'm there, I want to be doing it, and I said I would like to try it. My husband was thrilled. He thought it'd be a lot cheaper than horses. He was wrong. I don't do anything halfway, and I was smitten from day one. I've been a horse person my entire life, and I sold probably the best show horse I ever owned a year later.
Wow, so you were fully committed.
Yeah, the horse was spending way more time home than my shotgun, and I've been shooting now for, I think, almost 34 years.
Wow.
And got to compete a lot. This game has been very good to me. And as far as instructing, it has to be now probably 11 years ago or so. My husband suggested, he seems to be the driving force behind my life, that I should coach. And I said, I don't want to coach, I want to shoot. And he said, you seem to have a knack for just saying one thing to somebody and they hit the next target that they've just missed. And then you start helping people when you're out shooting and if it's asked for. And then I started doing a little coaching, a little part-time coaching, and all of a sudden I'm a licensed veterinary technician. I'm an anesthetic specialist, and I started trying to get schedule lessons, and it's like I have to work that day, and trying to reschedule people. You can do it once, you can do it the second time they go to somebody else.
Yeah.
And so I attempted to go part-time at my job. It's a very busy clinic, and it didn't work for them. It didn't work for me. So about now, I think it's 8 years ago, I retired. I'm still a licensed tech. I could work tonight if I chose to. You never give away a professional license. Started teaching, started my own business, and Orvis came to me about 5.5 years ago, inquiring if I would like to apply for this job. And my first response was, I'm not really looking. My husband was like, are you serious? And, I rethought it. They reached out again, and, so I decided to apply, and here I am.
Wow.
And, it was a good decision. It's a very diverse clientele here. I get to teach all day long, which is like a dream day for me. Of course, I have other responsibilities, as I'm sure you do as well. That's a perfect day for me, just being out there teaching all day. I love to teach.
All right, everybody, we will be right back after a short sponsored segment. Are you missing clays and wondering why? Shot Cam can help. It's a lightweight camera that attaches under your barrel to record every shot, with a red dot showing where the barrel is pointed at the moment of truth. Just turn it on and it automatically saves to your phone. Instantly replay the videos on your phone, and they are crisp and clear enough to see the pellets. This is a tool that I use on lessons to help my students understand more deeply what move they're applying to that target. I recommend it for my students to practice with. They're able to go see exactly the moves that we're working on, and it's a fantastic tool to add. Get it at shotcam.com with the code TheClayLab, one word, for 10% off. The average shooter improves at least 10% in their first 30 days using the camera. That's Shot Cam, spelled with a K.
And I had already been a level 1. That was years ago. I did a level 2 right before coming here. And Don told me I should think about a level 3. And I was like, oh, that's miles down the road. It wasn't that long. And when I got down to Old Hudson Plantation, I thought, it has not been long enough. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think you're alluding to the difficulty of the class and the entrance exam and all of those things. I mean,
Sure.
I found it really interesting that that class is more of a peer-to-peer type class, and they really want to see what knowledge base are you entering the class with, and less so of hey, we're going to teach you, because if you're going to obtain that certification, you already need to be extremely knowledgeable. But yeah, it was definitely a nerve-wracking 4 days for sure.
I will agree to that.
Yeah.
But that's what brought me to this point in this newfound career at this point in my life.
Well, that is great. I know you love what you do. For the listeners that haven't been, where is Orvis Sandanona located?
We are located in Millbrook, New York. It's in the Hudson Valley. Sandanona itself is a very old club with quite a history. It's the oldest licensed hunting preserve in America.
Oh,
This
wow.
club got started in 1907, and Orvis has owned this, and don't quote me on this one, but I think close to 30 years. I shot here
Okay.
before they owned it, and it's steeped in history, that's for sure.
Yeah, I could feel, I had the pleasure last year coming to the 2024 Shotgun Classic and being one of the instructors on the list. And I'll tell you what, from the moment you set foot on the property, the long entrance, and, you come up to this beautiful clubhouse, and I mean, you just walk in, and I mean, you can feel the history in the building, and it's just such a unique venue, and, all the classroom outside and the barns and everything. I mean, it's a really, really unique place and beautiful facility.
Thank you. But it really is. It's a nice piece of property, and especially up here, I mean, we're just shy of 500 acres, and that's a lot of property up here. Not like down south.
Yeah, and the terrain is really cool. A lot of woods, and a lot of different topography features on the course. And so I found it very interesting that every group is sent with a trapper, and most stations, from my recollection, had 3 traps on it, but they were still a few that were hand trapped.
I think we're one of the few clubs that probably still has that. From an instruction standpoint, I would love to. We have 2 full sporting clay courses. I would love to see one of them automated. But that having a trapper with you, I mean, people here, members have built bonds with various trappers. And there's a trapper that's been here for over 21 years.
Wow.
He is the most requested person at Sandanona, and I take no offense from that. He's a legend.
Yeah, that's great. 21 years. Well, he's definitely earned that legendary status.
As I say to him, your dance card is always full.
That's great. Well, the hand trap thing, I understand the automation for, ease and convenience, but the nostalgia of the hand trap, that is super cool. I have never personally shot another course that has been hand trapped. I missed that era, but I found that very unique and kind of added to the experience.
It's a nice club. There is a lot of variety, and we're fortunate enough. People say, "Well, how do you get that many trappers?" We probably have a call list. They're all on call of 65 trappers.
Holy cow, that's a lot.
So, sometimes I don't envy the people that do the reservations. It's a bit of juggling to get it to work out on a busy
Sure.
day, but we can accommodate quite a few people out there at the same time. It's everything is done by reservation, so you don't get gridlock or backups and that sort of thing. Everything revolves around the customer experience here.
Yeah, and I really got that feel when I was there. The staff was extremely welcoming as soon as you walked in. Met with a bunch of smiling faces, and I could tell that you put a lot of effort into just making sure that the guest experience was top notch on that. Can you speak to the pro shop a little bit? I mean, there was quite a bit of merchandise in there, and but the guns, I was really amazed at how many guns were available in the clubhouse.
Of course, we're a Caesar Guarini elite dealer, but we carry the whole family of Caesar Guarini, the Fab Arms and the Sirens as well, and Beretta Browning. But we also have a large consignment section on Guns International, and all those guns are physically here. I don't think they were last year when you were here, but we have since moved the entire gunsmithing operation. We have a gunsmith on premise now, and all of our consignment guns are physically here. And that's for
Oh, that's
Orvis
great.
in general, all the Orvis shooting grounds.
Wow. That's fantastic. So people can come and lay their
Yeah.
hands on something they're looking at online. And
Sure, they can shoot it, with a member of staff, of course. But that makes a big difference to people.
oh yeah, you definitely you want to test drive something if you can before you buy it, and that's great.
Absolutely. I mean, as an instructor, you encourage people searching for a gun. Get out there and shoot as many different guns as you can.
Yeah, that's a major thing, that gun fit is everything, and I often see people that maybe have a gun that's near and dear to them, and maybe it was an inherited gun or, a gift or something, and they try to love it and want to shoot it, and it's just, no matter what you're going to do, it's just simply not going to fit you. And that gun needs to be an extension of your body and not just like you're holding a tool. So having that wide variety of guns there, I'm sure folks can find something that fits them as well. So is that something you do? Do you fit the customers to the guns?
We do gun fits here as well. You do an official gun fit, like with a tri-gun, that sort of thing, a complete gun fit. But also, we have, as far as rental guns for lessons or for people to take out on the course, we have probably over 100 guns, and to different models, different lengths of pull. And we now, over the past year, have gotten a lot of guns with adjustable combs, summits, and fab arms, and onto the rental rack. That's really nice because, one, being left-handed, you get some left-handed people walk in the door. And you can at least get something close if they want to shoot a particular gauge. You can make it fit a little better for a left-handed person. It's not a left-handed gun, but you can certainly make it comfortable.
Yeah, definitely. And that helps. The outdoor industry is not too kind to the left-handed folks out there, as I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir on them.
The world is not as nice to left-handed people. It's a right-handed world from the little scissors you get in second grade on.
I never thought of it that way, but you're right. Yeah. Well, I touched briefly on the Shotgun Classic of last year, and I don't want to gloss over that, because that event was probably single-handedly the coolest, most unique coaching experience that have had. And I'd love for you to talk about, the 2025 Shotgun Classic, the instructor lineup and the format about that. So who have you wrangled up to come be instructors there this year?
Well, we certainly have a pretty star-studded cast this year going forward. And of course, including yourself, we're thrilled to have you back again this year for the 19th Annual Shotgun Classic.
Well, thank you for the invitation.
We have in our lineup this year, we've got Zachary Keenbaum, and he's recently won the World FETASC of
Yes, he did.
2024. Desiree Edmonds, one of the ladies at the top of the shooting game. Let's see. We have Ed Solomons is coming over from the UK.
That's great.
He also won the World FETASC, I think in 2014, I believe. Joseph Carey, he's an NSCA national winner, is coming on up from New Jersey. Will Fennell's coming. That's certainly a familiar name in the shooting world.
Absolutely.
Yourself, Cody Matson. Chris Batha is coming back. He's been here multiple times. I think he's been here. This has become my event since I came on board here. He's been here every time we've had it since I've been here.
That's great. I really enjoyed getting to meet Chris last year. I've read his book, and it was just cool to meet him as well.
He's a pretty laid back guy. He's a lot of fun.
Yes.
Now you're going to have to help me pronounce this because I've heard it pronounced wrong on so many podcasts.
It's Cade Facey.
I would have been right, but
Yeah.
I actually heard that on another podcast, and it was like, oh no, I'm going to be one of those people.
Yeah, Cade's a great young man.
And he's a busy guy. He takes time out of his busy schedule to get here, and he'll be back again this year.
Good.
We're bringing Chuck Baker up from Purcell Farms, which is an Orvis facility in Alabama. That's a beautiful facility. He's coming on back. He brings a lot to the table, especially wing shooting experience. He has had a ton of it. They do an awful lot of quail and duck down there. Grace Callahan's coming back. She's a familiar face now in Florida as well as up here in the Northeast.
Mm-hmm.
She's on the Siren Pro staff. Travis Mears is coming on back. Does a lot at Defender Outdoor Clay Sports Ranch in Texas. As a serious tournament shooter as well. I had the pleasure of getting to shoot the World FETASC with him last year on the same squad.
Oh, that had to be a cool experience.
We had a great time.
That's great. And Travis, with all his trick shows and everything, that man can wield a shotgun.
He sure can. He's no slouch shooting clay targets, that's for sure.
No, I asked him last year, I said, does all that trick shooting hurt your competition shooting? He said, well, a little bit, but it's kind of all the same. So
I don't think it hurts it at all.
Yeah.
Trust me. I told him, I said, I'm stealing everything I can with my eyes. This whole
there you go.
shoot. Steve Leberta is coming back. I mean, this is his home area. He grew up in a town very close to this, and we've been good friends for a long time. Has worked with the Carlisle Academy for years. Good friends with Dan Carlisle, as I am as well. And it's always good to have him come back, and it gives him a chance, I'm sure, to see his family when he's back here. And,
yeah, Steve's a great guy.
And myself as well. I'm here all the time, though, but and I'll be busy kind of helping run things, make sure everything runs smoothly. But this is really the best in the business here this year. I'm so excited and grateful that all you instructors take the time to come and do this. And I know it's not easy. I spent like an hour on the phone with Will Fennell trying to go through the schedule of all the big tournaments and who would be where and how can we do this. It was a lot of juggling, and yes, we did change the date twice before we put it out, of course, but to try to make it so everybody could come because it was important to me to have the roster that we have, and I'm super excited about it.
Well, I know you pour a lot of work and heart into this, and I know it's an event that you're very proud of. And it takes a lot to line up all the names that you did. Every one of us is extremely busy, but I think that it speaks to the fact of the prestige of the event that everybody's willing to carve out that time and come do this. And, and we're there to help the clientele and, bring our expertise to them, and they get to hear it, hear us say probably the same thing, but in a different format, through all the instructors. And so how does sign up work? I know we did kind of a round robin thing, but why don't you explain to the listeners how sign up works, and then take them through what a day during the Shotgun Classic might look like.
Everybody, it's a 2-day event. This year is going to be June 28th, and it's our 19th annual Shotgun Classic. But during those 2 days, people have 2 slots in the afternoon and 2 slots in the morning each day.
Okay.
You have a potential to do 8 hour-and-a-half sessions with different instructors. I think most people find that that's just way too much shooting. It's way too much knowledge to absorb. So depends on the individual. We do have people that do all 8 slots, but the first thing you would do is sign up, and we try to space it out. Choosing instructors. You can shoot with each instructor once. If there's open slots at the end, which the way this year is rolling along, there may not be.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yeah,
Great
it,
news for
it
sign
is
up.
great, but we want to make sure that everybody has access to each instructor.
Mm-hmm.
Someone may have a favorite instructor and they're going to want to shoot with that person the whole time. We don't let that happen just so that it's equal across the
Sure.
board. We were trying to think of the best way to do that. To get signed up and to get more information about your instructors and just the layout of it, you would email us Sandanona events at orvis.com, or you can call the clubhouse, which is we have a great team that does our events planning. And this is a labor of many people, this event, and they handle a lot of the PR, a lot of the signups. Thank goodness. I don't know where I would find the time to do it, and they're really good at it. But in the day, you would come, you'd have breakfast. We have a great chef here. Any meal you get here is going to be top notch. You do breakfast, you would go out, you do your first slot, you have a 15-minute break in between, and then you do your second slot, and then come in for lunch. And same thing in the afternoon, you have 2 slots. And then I guess this year it's Friday night. We have a nice sit down dinner, and usually we try to get some sort of entertainment. We've had Travis in the past do his trick show. Last year we had Wes Lang from Caesar Guarini came. Very interesting talk.
I thought so too. He really eloquently, talked about Greeny and their manufacturing and their products, and I found that really fascinating.
So it's we're still kind of working on that part for this year, but I do want to make note of just the fact that we have Dr. Colo will be here again
That's a
this year,
huge addition. Yeah.
and he does some limited slots, and they are full already. But he'll be around. I mean, he's excited about getting to be around all the instructors and the students as well. So there's a wealth of knowledge right there.
Yeah, that's a huge, huge value added, and I know for me having Dr. Colo on site too, I know last year I worked with a few students that, I steered them towards Colo, and, they talked to him at lunch, and, just they wound up ultimately connecting and getting glasses and, maybe making an appointment with Dr. Colo. So even if he is booked up full, that's a great intro to meet him, and, you could schedule something with him outside of it, or, he's just a wealth of knowledge. We're so lucky to have him.
I'm lucky to have him so close by. He said, you keep me from retiring. It's like, I said, you can't retire. What will we do?
No, no, don't retire.
Yeah.
Well, going back, not to overshadow Dr. Colo, but the breakfast buffet and lunch and dinner last year was all spectacular. The food was, you're right, it was spot on. It was really, really good.
I'm happy to see that you feel the same way. I think this is the best chef we've ever had. She's phenomenal, and she has a great team. We also, for the people that just say you do 2 sessions in the morning and in the afternoon, you maybe want to take one and just go out and take what you've just learned in the morning and use it. There's unlimited shooting. Because we have the 2 clays courses, we have a 5 stand, we have a flurry, and now we have a police field. That's new.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that's a lot of shooting to be done there. Everybody gets 2 cases of Winchester ammunition when they come, and I don't think anybody goes home with ammo.
They shoot it all up. Well, that's great that, if you're flying in, I had a student last year. I think it was the family. They were from Canada. I had a student from San Francisco. I mean, people come from all over the globe to come to this event. And so there are still slots remaining open for this event this year.
There are. It's not a lot of slots, but there still are slots open. Occasionally people's plans change and they have to cancel out. So, we'll go with a waiting list even when we get close to full.
Okay. Well, that's great. Yeah. And then in the morning session, everything was extremely well organized. The instructors were there, the assignments were made for who the students were working with. And then we scooped up our students, rode out on the carts, went to the different various courses. And I found that really fun to get to know a bunch of different people, hear their background and, ask everybody's, what would be the win for the day. And it was just a lot of fun, to do that format. That's really an interesting, unique style.
That's new. That format is new since I've been here. They used to do it where an instructor was on the same station the whole time. I think that this is, even though it's only an hour and a half, I mean, we do our lessons. You get to bond with these people a little bit. I think it provides a better feel. I really think that there are people that meet each other at this and they're friends for life. I mean, it's a life-changing event.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's, having the ability for the students to, ride out on the carts and, spend the time with the instructors. They may see these instructors, on YouTube or, in different various platforms. And, it's just kind of cool that, you can come out and work with them and hear their philosophy on everything. And, I think everybody that attended last year, left with some newfound knowledge. And I definitely seen a lot of my students, they were invigorated, ready to come back and practice more, right? You get some newfound knowledge. You can't wait to come back and test it out.
Sure, absolutely.
Well, that is fantastic. And so that event, again, what were the dates on that?
It's June 27th and 28th. It's a Friday, Saturday.
Okay, great. And then in that area for lodging and everything, does Orvis recommend lodging there, or is there lodging on site?
We don't have it on site. I really wish we did, but we have a list of accommodations. When you call, anybody at the desk will be able to help you with that, just so that you can get that taken care of ahead of time. Anything we can do to help. Don't
That's
ever
great.
hesitate. I've had people reach out to me asking, who they should shoot with or what instructors would be maybe the best fit for them, or we're here to help make it the best experience possible for someone.
Yeah, and I think no matter your experience level or skill set or goals and aspirations, I think this event is, an all ages, all skill set background type of event. So yeah, I wouldn't think anybody should hesitate for signing up.
And that's a question that comes up. Should I sign up? Of course you should. You're going to learn whether you're a novice or you're a masterclass tournament shooter. You're going to learn something, and just listening while the instructor's working with the other people in your group, you're learning the whole time. And those fundamentals or techniques, they don't change, as you progress through your career shooting.
Yeah, you're exactly right. In the group setting, a lot of individuals, they'll take a one-on-one lesson. I personally enjoy a group setting, not only for myself getting coached or coaching, but hearing that information delivered to another student while you're not in the box. You can process that and hear that and observe that other shooters. I think you gain value just from hearing it and seeing it. And then you get plenty of your own reps in as well on that.
I agree 100%.
Yeah, it's a fun format, and you're getting paired up with some people you may not know that also, like you said, you might create a lifelong shooting friend there.
Absolutely. And that's you want that.
Yeah, that's the biggest, advantage of something like this is you get to exposure to a lot of different coaches. So if you're listening to this and you're not sure of, what coach suits you best, this is a great way to come out and, experience all the different personality types and just see who suits you. Because, right, your coach has to resonate with you, right? You have to have this bond or a trust in order for them to, you to trust what they're saying to work on it. So this is a great way to sample a bunch of different coaches.
Absolutely. You're not, certain people are not for everybody, and not just certain people. Some people will learn better from one style or one personality better than another. We're human.
Absolutely. I think at the end of the day, most of us instructors are saying the same thing, but it's how the information is delivered. There may just be a key phrase or a word that resonates with you, and that's going to be the missing link in your game to be putting it all together.
That's totally true. I mean, how many times has somebody said in a lesson, well, nobody ever told me that? They probably did.
Yeah.
But
Right.
you because it's sometimes it's something so fundamental. They probably did, but you didn't understand it the way it was phrased or something, and we're afraid to maybe say something.
Yes. Yeah. In working, personally with Will Fennell over the years, I've heard him tell me things over the years, and then months and years later, I'm on the course, and then it finally clicks. It's like, oh, that's what he was saying, right? And you just
Sure.
weren't in a point in your shooting journey that maybe that message had resonated yet. So yeah, sometimes we need to hear it over and over.
I agree.
Well, that's great. And Paula, for the folks that want to come see you and work with you at Orvis, what is your coaching style? Do you have a particular method that you teach, or do you kind of subscribe to the NSCA's 5 methods, or what do students seek in you?
For me, I mean, I come as well as Will and Steve and Kate from the Carlisle background. I worked with Dan for several years and worked with Anthony for I still work with Anthony. You're always learning. I mean, if you think you've learned everything, then you're in
That's
trouble.
when it's over. Exactly.
Yeah, you might as well stop now. I try with new people. I'm not set on any one method. If somebody comes to me with a pretty solid game with a particular method, I'm not going to change everything. I'm just going to try to make that the whole picture better, improve upon what they have and go forward.
That's great. Yeah, you and I are very similar in that regard, where I think people take lessons very cautiously because everybody's worked hard to get to the level that they're currently at. And maybe at one point in time, they've heard a horror story of an instructor tearing them down completely to maybe rebuild them, or, maybe that's been something they've experienced themselves. But yeah, I share the sentiment of, I may identify 10 things wrong that you're doing, but we're going to look at the one thing that you're going to get the biggest benefit from right now. And that's what we're going to spend our time working on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
Yeah.
really,
And
people can
go
only
ahead.
work on one thing at a time anyway.
Yeah. That information overloading, that doesn't work too well, does it?
No.
I had one of my very first instructors that, geez, I was a trapper back then. We had John Higgins come through and provide some instruction at the venue I was working at. And, John took us all aside, the trappers, and, said, if you have goals and aspirations of coaching one day, he goes, I want you all to shoot the opposite handed. So if you're right handed, I want you to take some shots left handed. And I'm thinking, well, geez, I can't do anything left handed. And, he had me shoot left handed, and he goes, stop, and I'm halfway through trying to figure out which foot forward and shoulder this and hand that. And he goes, that's what a new or novice shooter feels like, right? So be very cautious of what information you add to them, because they've already got so much going on in the moment and in their heads that you don't want to information overload them. And I've never forgotten that lesson, and I try to cater that information very, very carefully to them.
They do that in the NSCA level 1. They do it in level 2 as well, I believe. And boy, you do take for granted. It's like breathing. So to mount your gun and shoot off your dominant side, not off the other side.
Yeah, exactly. We've ingrained those shots in our subconscious where all that action just happens. But yeah, no, being cognizant of that and stepping, new shooters through is such a key element, right? We got to create enthusiasm.
I work with so many right-handed people and being left-handed. And sometimes, I'll say to people, because, you're helping, if I get a left-handed person where, you're loading and unloading the gun on your offside, which that's my offside. I said, I can't do anything right-handed. You make them feel at ease. I said, I don't want you to think I'd never done this before, but I said, I'm left-handed, so this is awkward for me. People laugh and they're like, okay, so this is okay to be nervous and whatnot, It's,
Absolutely.
Put people at ease before they can learn.
Well, there's definitely a trust bond that, the student and the coach have to have. And, out of all the instructors that you lined up, everybody's an extremely advanced level instructor, and, they're going to deliver that information to the student in the manner that suits them best. I'm confident in that.
You have to read somebody like in the first 5 minutes what's going to work, and you realize like that's the hard part of it. Sometimes when you have a group, if you do a group of 4 and you have an hour to teach these people how to shoot, you have to figure these people out pretty quickly, so it's something that resonates with them and they can understand what you're trying to do with them. Otherwise, it's really frustrating for them. And you have to be patient. And there's a lot more to it than just teaching people how to shoot. It's being able to work with people and read them and make them feel comfortable and make it enjoyable for them.
Yes. Yeah. I couldn't agree more on that. And that's the thing, by putting them at ease, they've got to let their guard down to be able to try something new, and their old habits die hard, and if they're have some ingrained, bad habits or something like that, not only is there some new learning that has to occur, but there's definitely some unlearning, and which arguably takes longer. So yeah, having extreme patience and, talking them through that and putting them at ease that, no, this just does take time and you're doing everything properly and right that I'm asking you to do. And, we just need to spend some more time on task. You get the concept.
But it's enjoyable.
It is. It is super, super rewarding work for sure. Paula, I have thoroughly enjoyed having you on the podcast. I can't wait to see you in June and come to the 2025 Shotgun Classic. But let's let everybody know once again, how do they sign up for the Classic if this is an event that they just can't not make?
So you can go on Sandanona, Sandanona events at orvis.com, or you can just call us here at the clubhouse, 845-677-97. But if you go on that website, you can pull up Shotgun Classic, and it will give you all the information of lodging and the instructor profiles, give you some idea who you think you might want to shoot with. Certainly, if you have any further questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us, but you'll be calling us to sign up. So
there you go.
This will give you a chance to look at the information and formulate any questions you may have.
Perfect. Well, I hope we can get the event filled up, and anybody listening, I hope to see you at Orvis Sandanona in New York in June. It's going to be an event you're not going to want to miss.
I'm looking forward to having you, Cody.
Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you so much for having me, and I appreciate everybody tuning into this episode. And go on Orvis there and check them out. Read all those instructor profiles. We got a star-studded event this year. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for joining us. Remember to subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast platform to the Clay Lab so you don't miss an episode. Check out MatsonShootingAcademy.com or reach out to Cody at MatsonShootingAcademy@gmail.com. Consider joining as a channel member too by clicking that join button below on YouTube for early access to videos and podcasts. We'll catch you here next time on the Matson Shooting Academy podcast.